Fuse burning up, now the sun gone down. Lights in the distance, a forgotten town. No, I'm on my way, oh, I'm on my way. So stand on the edge of the world with me.
Yo. Chat. Hiya, chat. Hiya. How we all doing? How we all doing good? How we all doing great? Great day for a great day. Dude, what the fuck is going on today, chat? Today's a crazy day, chat. Am I getting fucking sued? Who the fuck knows anymore? Am I getting sued? Who the fuck knows? I don't know. I hope you know, because I have no clue if I'm getting sued or not, but who the fuck knows? It is what it is. Chad, welcome to the stream. We're doing Minecraft, and I don't want to get into it, I don't have enough time. We're gonna literally right into it. Literally right the fuck into it today. Okay, we're gonna get right into it. Right the fuck into it. We got the drinks ready. I'm playing server. Egg goes to sleep in 2 hours. So, we're playing games, and I might get sued. Who the fuck knows anymore? I don't know anymore. Trust me, I don't know. Like, this happens, and I'm like, I don't know. I think people are finally complaining against me. But I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know anymore. Hello.
Brady, you just missed left, nearly getting crushed by the wheels.
Wait, actually, that's great. What do you mean? How do you get crushed by the wheels? Wait, what?
We were setting up the crush wheels and she like tripped.
That's okay. That's actually kind of funny. What? That's funny.
I got fast fingers.
I guess. Hi, Slash. Dude, okay. What a way to come in. How is my death? No. Your death though. Your death's not funny. It's the fact.
Funny.
No, it's the fact that it happened. I feel like it's not your death. It just happened to anyone's kind of funny. But no, not you. If it happened to you, I'll be very sad. But if it happened to anyone else, it's very funny. But I think I'm getting sued, by the way, on the server. I'm pretty sure, or something. I think Void is calling me a stalker. Okay, so what happened? Okay, we spawned in, right? Okay, we're at the spawn store. You know this little table in the corner? Like this little table in the corner, right? Okay, so there's a chessboard and like B and all their like parents sitting there. I'm like, oh, that's a cute moment. Let me take a picture of that moment. So I took a picture of it, and I gave it to B. It has a little gift, right? And Void and Cupid started hitting me, and called me stalker. And it was yeah, it's I don't know. Life is doing great for me.
Well, I mean, other worse things could happen. Apparently, did you hear about the CPS?
Oh yeah, I was there at the creation. I think I'm one of the officers. I'm pretty sure.
I logged off one night early.
Dude, I'm pretty sure one of the officers. Oh, dude, do you happen to be? Oh, dude, it was so sad.
What happened?
Okay, so God gave everybody the CPS signs, right? The banners. So B got one, right? B just placed it in their house. So it was funny. But some random person, I don't know if they found out who, placed CPS signs in front of B's house.
What?
And B got so sad. And I'm like, it's the most heart-wrenching thing ever. Dude, it's like genuinely the saddest, dude. Yeah, it's so fucked up, but hey, listen, people are people are people. So yeah, that was.
People are people.
Oh, and then like I think Daplin's family is going through a I don't know, a relationship crisis at the moment. So that's fun. You missed a
Huh?
lot yesterday. Like, dude,
I'm sorry, what happened?
one of Daplin's guardians were like calling them bitchlet. Dude, Daplin's okay. Ethan Nagi, dude. One of Daplin's guardians is the reason we made CPS because Ethan Nagi
Oh.
is just like fucking like they're okay. Daplin and Ethan Nagi are going at it. I think Ethan Nagi is I think called him like started cussing Daplin out in chat. And then like
What?
we brought them here, and then I think Tofu's also agrees with Itanagi. So then God managed to kill Tofu, but I don't know what means they used. But yeah, they managed to kill Tofu, and then like down him, and then we also downed Itanagi many times. Many Celeste. Celeste is downed. I think Celeste is like the main officer of CPS at this point.
Pop off, Celeste, you go.
Yeah, dude, Celeste. Okay, Celeste downed Itanagi with every weapon she had. It was so funny. She downed him in one weapon, got him back up, downed him with another weapon. Dude.
That reminds me.
Mm-hmm.
I was asked to make a poster for the CPS office.
That's fucking.
You wanna see?
Wait,
Wanna see the
yeah,
poster
yeah,
for
I
the,
do, dude, that's so funny. Wait, let me look. Wait,
I didn't
okay.
make the CPS one yet. But that's the
Oh
one.
yeah, Salas is very cool.
Yeah.
Dude, this is very, very sick, dude. Dude, CPS on
Let's look.
CPS on the Wandering Hallows SMP is gonna go hard.
Now I gotta make one for CPS.
Dude, that's, dude, I don't understand. Okay, I don't know how the ARC did that much in a CPS office now. This is crazy. This is insane. Do you need any help?
Lore goes crazy.
True, true. The CPS lore goes hard.
The CPS lore does go hard.
Dude, I don't understand. Alright. Do you need any help? I'm here to help for a couple hours. Assist. I can also
could
mine.
you-
Okay, yeah. What's up?
Help Celeste with setting up like basic create stuff around here while I like
Okay.
build the walls.
That works, that works. Wait.
Because I'd like not to go over to the Sinak Valley so much because I feel bad for using other people's things.
I mean not other people. It's more like Becca's. And Becca's, I think, less barren. So, like.
My anxiety just goes burr. It's just the...
No, I get that. I get that. So I'll steal for you so you don't feel bad. Alright, thank you. That sounds like a plan. You should get an extended grip.
Just the basic create stuff, as well as like because another thing I want to make is like a avocado farm, so you can have like avocado toast really easily.
Oh, that is so true. Also, you should get an extended grip. It makes it much easier. They're at the shop, I'm pretty sure. Like, that increases reach, just but then it increases energy distance, so you can place blocks further, also hit further. And I think another dude, the knockback is crazy. It's so insane. Knockback. Wait, what does this machine do?
I'll get one later.
I can quickly go get one if you want. In the shop. Alright, give me a second, I'll be right back. You must bring an ape. I don't know what's happening in the chat. Okay. What is the waystone called? Here it is. Oh wait, it's not. Do they not have the create store yet? I don't think they have the create store yet. Where to be? Where to be? I swear they had an extended grip. Am I blind? Let me make one. Grip? Wait, do I not upgrade? Do I not upgrade? I'm going to relog chat. My relog. No shot, I'm not blind. That's crazy. I think I'm seeing things. I swear it was there earlier, and now it's just not there. So I think I'm either blind.
It might have been before the.
True, I think it probably was. And I need to relog. I have no create things in my JI. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay. I relog because apparently create is very buggy sometimes, so this doesn't show up in JI. JI bug. No, what's my fucking. My like Twitch is bugging the fuck out. Okay. That's good. Okay, let's see this. Game time. What is this music? It's great. It's like music. Load. Game. Load. Probably eat. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten anything all day, so I'll probably eat some fruits. Not fruits, some snacks. Oh, I guess they're both actually. If you get the joke. If you get the joke, you're funny like me. If you don't get the joke, fuck you. Leave the chat right now. Okay. Fruits and no, I don't know fruit, no snacks. I mean, I got second on both. So that's why. Dude, fruit snacks are the best thing to ever exist, dude. I don't know how it's throughout college and fruit snacks. It's crazy. Like, it's crazy. They're so good. Okay. Load faster. Now does it work? Okay, now I can see it. Thank you. Okay, extended games are actually a pain to craft, so I'm just not gonna craft it. Too lazy. Okay, what's this? Thank you. Okay. Oh shit, Park, I wanna go see. Dude, Celestia's Godzilla is crazy, dude. A what? A brass? Oh, dude, it's so annoying. It's copper and zinc in a blaze burner cauldron mixing.
I gave all my copper to Celeste!
I have copper, I think. Give me a second. I probably have copper somewhere. I have I have 41 copper.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you can have all of them. I really like, dude. I was gonna do so much great, then I got a child and stuff. Like, the first 3 days of getting out having a child, just making sure they don't die, and then you can actually do real stuff. Oh my gosh, this is insane. Like, okay, whose idea was it to make a copper roof? Oh no, it's the idea chain. Yeah.
The idea for the walls and first.
Ah, okay. Dude, Becca was like, Becca was so annoyed. Like, dude, because like it's the most annoying block to get.
Yeah, we used a lot of annoying blocks to get.
Dude, no, this is the most this is the most infuriating room to build ever. Because like it takes the most annoying block.
It just shows that we're rich.
Yeah, true. Dude, anyone comes down here, they'll immediately think. I mean, to be honest, I don't want to look at Daft and stuff because I feel like he is just like stacked beyond like anybody else. Kind of terrifies me how stacked Daft is. This tofu doesn't never gets off ever. So it's like that's a lot of cactus.
I need it for my dye shop.
Yep. Oh, did you have a spot for it yet?
My dye shop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Why? Hello there. Why is there a villager in the middle of okay? Spawn is strange. Okay. Oh, okay, true. Get think oh my god, wait, is this sick? It's so sick. Wait,
I have the thing closed.
this looks sick. What? Dude, I love the colors. Oh my god.
You can come in.
Oh my. Okay, this is actually very.
I'm working one die at a time.
The only thing kind of annoys me is how the colors aren't matched up with where it's supposed to be. Like, why is red over here, but the red's also over there?
Oh, I started
Oh.
here with the white dye. I went
Okay.
in order of, if you look up dyes in the GUI.
Oh,
I went in
oh.
order of dyes. So I
Okay.
went white, gray, or
That's
light
sick.
gray, black,
Oh.
in that order,
Oh,
and then I
do
went
they?
around the pole. So.
Okay. No, that makes sense. That's very sick. How do they order that? It's not alphabetical. It's an alphabet number name. That's very sick. Oh my god, I love the design. It's very, very cool. It kind of looks like a jester's hat.
It's supposed to be a tent. It's like tie dye.
No, I can see that. I can see that. But like, I think it's, I don't know. I immediately thought jester's hat when I saw this.
Jester's hat. Well,
Like
a
a hat.
jester's hat is like more like, when I think of a jester's hat, it's like the 3 little points that go out.
No, that is true. That is true. No, I think of it. I don't know. No, but it does look like a tent. It looks very sick though. I like the color scheme. Very sick. Very colorful.
Just
I got the
getting
wither
dyes.
skills helping it spot. Yeah, dude, getting dyes is a pain. Like, dude, pushing like green dye is an absolute pain. And like the dyes you have to like craft other dyes to get is like, oh.
I think the most annoying dye that will probably be like cyan.
Ooh, yeah,
A lot of
cyan
things
is,
that make
dude.
cyan dye.
It's very
That just
annoying.
means I'll need to make a lot of
I mean,
blue and green.
yeah, blue and green, yeah. Oh, so you're gonna need green dye for cyan and for the green. Oh, that's gonna be very annoying.
I have all the things I need to make like every dot, but it's just like green.
Green is
blue.
green is so hard to get, but it's so useful because it got so many dyes. I don't know. Let's see. Dyes. White dye is easy. You can tell the skeleton from. Black dye is, I guess, not that terrible.
Easy. That's why I'm so sad when I went to go get from like that bone chop and spawn. It
Oh
was
yeah.
empty, and I was like, no.
Oh no, they need to
But that's what
restart.
started this whole journey of me trying to like get a bone meal supply, so then I could turn it into dye.
Dude, that's all. Dude, I mean, dude, I think it's brown dye hard to get. Brown dye is that? No, brown dye. Sorry, is
Yeah, we
black.
have a lot of
Cocoa beans, probably.
I have a lot of. I have a lot of cocoa beans. It's just gonna take a lot of time to get the cocoa beans.
Oh, I get that. Oh, dude, great. Oh, black dye. Black dye doesn't seem terrible. It's just from. You can get wither. You can get ink sacs, farm squids for days and days. Right.
I think for black dye I'm using the crushing wheels with coal.
Hmm.
Which shouldn't be too hard.
Oh yeah, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff. Oh my god, so many dyes. Honestly, it's probably might be one of the most successful businesses because everyone needs dye. What's the pricing gonna be? Do you know? Is it like
We're gonna be rich.
shoot?
I just need to know what to charge for some
I feel like
of these.
I feel like green. I feel like some of them could be very cheap because like, I think like maybe white dye could be cheaper. I think like a diamond per stack maybe, or like a. I think that's because.
I'm probably gonna do it in a way that's like which one's the hardest.
Yeah.
and which one's the most
Yeah, I
expensive.
think white could be cheapest and
Charge
maybe
by
green.
stack, so that people get
True.
good supply, and then
I think that's the chat. What's okay? Ignore it. I think white could be cheapest and probably I don't know maybe cyan most expensive.
yeah, it'll probably go in like an order.
That could be kind of cool, dude. This is very sick.
Yeah.
Pole in the middle. It does look like a little circus, kind of like a little thing Ken you see in a circus.
It's a tent.
Yeah, it's very sick. Pole up here. Wait.
Yeah, it's like a there's like poles.
Listen,
Poles that
you
hold
can't
up.
have a pole and not expect someone to foolish how to do this. Listen. Wait, I'm ready, yeah? Wait. Yeah, I took a selfie. Okay, we walk out, forget this ever happened, alright? This never happened. I do have a photocopy, but it's okay. Dude, okay, wait, look at this. Wait, I need to find my thing. Where's the thing I got? Okay, wait. Okay, I need to find here. Look at this. Wait.
Okay, I can breathe.
Okay, it's not making you not breathe anymore, but it's okay. Okay, this, I'll get this. This works. Look at this. No, that's bad. Wait, no,
No, wait. Come this way.
Okay.
Come this way.
Oh, I hear Blossom, I think. Okay. Oh, the grab hooks hate me. They're lagging so much.
Put it there.
Okay, where? Where did you go? Oh.
Put it there.
Okay. Put it there.
Put it up there.
No. Wait, I don't think she's that public. Hi, Eric. Hi, guys. Wait, look at this.
Hello.
Wait, look at it. Wait, how do I put this? Wait, no. That's the best thing I've ever seen.
What the?
Listen, you can't pull and expect someone not to dance on it. That's all I'm saying. Wisp did just die for a couple minutes, but it's okay.
Oh yeah, foolish.
Exactly. You can't have someone with a foolish head not do that. Exactly, Erica. See, Erica gets me.
You're not even.
Yeah, Erica, show the move.
Yeah, let's go, Erica. Let's go.
Don't.
Wait, Erica, I got you. I got you.
There, that's the stick. It's not a pole, it's a stick.
No,
So
oh
it's
my-
not illegal.
Oh my god. Okay.
Do
You want a pole? I've got a pole. Give me a second. I've got a real pole here. Erica, I've got you a pole. That's an actual pole.
Oh, no pole.
That is illegal.
No.
That's illegal.
Listen. We're not charging for it. Listen. Listen. I'm an officer of CPS. I know what's legal and what's illegal. Oh, hi. Okay. Stop.
I am CPS. I can't.
I'm okay
Oh,
with the
crap.
sticks. Oh.
Hi there. Excuse me. I know you want me to dance, but not that eager. Come on, man. Chill out. This guy has a mood.
Going back.
Hi, Pickling.
Oh, no.
Wait. Get up, Rock. I have the photo bag. Thank you, dude. I'm keeping that in my box backpack forever. And how are you, Erica? You good? Oh,
Where
dance back to
should
hell.
we go for the win?
I think Hikari, you can lead the way.
Yeah. Yippee trading
Oh,
village.
Erica, real quick. Here, take this.
Oh yeah,
Goodies.
Yippee trading.
Your daily dose of sugar.
Wait. It's
Energize yourself. Let's go. Dance. Dance your night away. That's what they say. Dance your night away. Never look back. Wait, oh my god, your glasses are like falling off. That's funny.
That made me lightheaded.
Dude.
okay, we need to head to the trading hub now. Your 3 waiters
Alright.
are waiting for you.
Bye,
Let's go.
Erica. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye. What the fuck was crashed? Oh, that's insane. That's crazy. That's insane. Oh, it's really funny. That's so funny. Oh my god, that's actually so funny. I love that. That was great. That's insane. I killed Wisp. Fuck, I killed Wisp. Fuck, I'm gonna go court for death now. Fudge, I killed Wisp. Oh, hi. Okay, so this is in bed. Yeah, no, they're still here. Where did they go? I have an hour left. Just less time. The base. Erica and Celeste are on right now. There are 2 amigos. Fudge. Oh, wait. Oh my god, wait, they actually. Oh no, this was the last time. Wait, why is there a fucking grave in front of my fucking house? Why is there a fucking grave? Oh my god, it's crazy. That's crazy. I think I killed Wisp. Wait. Did I kill Wisp? It's very upsetting. Celeste, I think I killed a Wisp. You wanna see this? I have evidence. Wait, look at this photo. It's actually very funny. Oh no, wrong one, wrong one, wrong one. We have too many photos on my backpack. Give me a second. Where is it? This one. No, yeah, this one. I think I killed them. Listen, you can't get someone a foolish head and not expect to dance on a pole. Yeah, they were. I think I killed them. I don't know where they went. I think they said they were gonna warp here. Then they just kind of. I'm going to build the station fast. Okay, okay. What do you need? What do you need from me? You need stuff? I can get stuff. I think I have plenty. I have stuff I can use. What is happening? Sad note. Lol. Yay. How Froggy is going through it today? Do I have materials? My first case? Okay, okay, okay. Alright, 6, 6, 6. Oh. Okay. So what do you need? What do you, okay, we'll go. Where are we going? So okay. I always go to like base instead of snack. I don't know why. I haven't had it. Just like going straight in the house. I'm lazy. Oh, they're fighting a wither. Oh, Erica's fighting another wither. That's great. Nothing. I did. Oh my God. The wither is crazy. That's loud. Okay. Let me erase my stuff. I think that's what I'll do later. Wide open tomato. Fudge and tomato. Okay. Ooh, that's cool. Dance, we dance. We dance while you wait. Oh, so that's real quick. I forgot. I have to give you this. Your daily dose of sugar. Or if you do go soon. Have it. Enjoy it. Get you energized for the day. I need to make more, I think. I'll do that when you go to sleep. One more. Dude, how many are they doing? Oh my God. Dude, if I see Erica's withered away in chat, I'm gonna be so mad. Oh. Thank you. Arrows are useful. I like arrows. I also don't need this many arrows. I have like 5 stacks. Okay. Oh, that's making a lot of concrete very fast. Oh my God, it's making so much concrete. Oh my God. Dude, it's increasing exponentially. This is crazy. This is crazy. I don't. this is actually crazy. You love concrete. I swear, if anyone reports to CPS about losing B so often, I am done. I might do that. That'd be really funny. Oh my God. I swear to God. This is gonna be me. If I heard another one of those, if I heard one more of that wither noise, I'm gonna be genuinely in pieces. It? Huh? Wait, is that wait? Oh my God, lag. Okay, wait. Brain dead. Okay, what's up? Oh, dude. I see definition. Okay, back to spawn. Alright, let's go. Let's go. Girl, help! I'm being attacked by monsters. They are close by. You could go help them. I don't know. Okay. It's the middle of the day. How are they getting attacked? Hello? Hello? Anybody out here? Are you in? I think they're inside here. Do you need help? Oh, okay. This was. Oh. Okay. Well, where are all the monsters? Oh. Okay, okay, okay. Do. Yes.
Oh, it's been too long. I haven't seen you in ages. How's it
Oh,
going?
dude, this is a cool build. Who do you care for? Who are you parent of? Are you parent?
Yeah, I'm Celeste's parent.
Ah.
It's been too long. I was.
Listen, Celeste is hard to keep track of the parents. There's too many. So like, it's not your fault. It's just there's a lot of parents to keep track of. Oh my god! I swear to God, I said I would die. This is the 5th one. I swear to God. This is insane. This is crazy. This is insane. Okay, Celeste, I have to add another one to the list.
Needs to take care of it.
All right, Celeste is gonna have to build a machine. We'll be back, and I think Celeste has to build a machine and go to sleep. We'll visit soon. I'll make sure to bring Celeste back.
Wait, do you guys have some food I could use?
Yeah, here. Give me a second. Here, over here.
I haven't been online
Oh,
on
over
the
there, over there.
server for a while because I've been busy moving and.
Ah, okay, okay. I'll go find egg. Egg gone.
How's Celeste been?
She's good. She's chilling. She's building machines now. I don't know where she's went, but I'll go find her. Yeah, building machines. I can show you. I think today we're in a rush, but after I'll show you the house. I need to find the egg child before she does something reckless. Okay. Celeste, over here. You and oh my god, where? It's such a confusing place. Okay, are we over there? Egg child, 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 egg child. Where did egg child go? Egg child is not here. Where is egg child? Egg child, child. Where did the egg child go? Oh no. Did I lose? Dude, I lose egg child. That's bad. I shouldn't lose them. Flag? Oh. Ooh. Hello? Celeste? Celeste. Oh my god, how did I lose them? No, I can't lose her. How did I lose her? This is going miserable. It's going great, isn't it? It's going great. Oh, another fucking wither. I'm gonna do something. Where'd she go? Dude, I hate how eggs can't appear on the map. It annoys me so much. It genuinely annoys me. But it's okay. But listen, I understand why though. Celeste, you down here? Where could she be? She at the Rose Community Garden? Celeste. You down here? Where is Celeste? Celeste? Dude. How have I lost my egg child? This is terrible. This is a terrible day. This is a terrible day in Varietyville. How have I lost egg child? No. Oh my god, why does egg child go so fast? Go so far? We'll go to Snipe Valley again, I guess. Celeste? Where did egg child go and why? Oh. This. Where did, oh, I'd gone, I think. They'll be back eventually. I'll wait. Also, my friendly incorrect response. Do. Where did Celeste go? Oh, Celeste is doing admin, I think. Okay, let's try focus on. Okay, let's try to. I think Celeste is doing God's work right now. Am I the only one of Celeste's parents online? I am. No, I'm not. But like, I'm the one who's actually caring for her at the moment. Oh wait. Oh fuck! I didn't see the tree yet. Dude, this looks actually so sick, chat. Oh my god. Oh my god. This looks so cool. Dude, what in the world? Why does it look so good? Shaders? Ooh, this looks really cool. Hello? Ooh, I heard movement. I heard movement, but who is moving? And why are they moving? Oh. Well, oh, it's a bee. The bee or the whale? I don't know, one of the two. Egg, child, Celeste. Little Celeste. Okay, where did Celeste go? Celeste at spawn. Hello.
Hello.
I've lost my child. Where did Celeste go? Celeste? Where did Celeste go? Dude, I've lost the egg. That's bad. That's bad. Look, everything she makes. Celeste? Where is Egg Child gone? Celeste? B is gone. B is in bed, napping. Hello? My hand. Are you up above me? Give me a second. Give me a second. Coming. Oh, lone lag. Hiya. Was looking for you. I was talking to your parent. They're asking about you. Was that? Oh. Why are you at the CPS? Oh, were you reading the poster? Were you hanging the poster? Oh, you're putting a station at the CPS. Oh, okay. That makes so more sense. Okay, okay. Let's go, let's go, let's go. That's very funny. Okay, okay, okay. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Dude, oh, dude, that's actually such a funny. Why does that exist? It's such a funny thing.
I think you have like
That's good me too.
10% of Asian blood too. So yeah, we drink alcohol since 3 years old. So it's okay.
What?
Yeah.
Huh? What?
Yeah, it's okay.
Huh?
It's okay.
Yes, it's okay.
We're discussing the laws that will be made because of
Oh my god, okay.
jail.
Oh, this was in the concrete fort.
So
okay,
now
okay.
you can say you have 10% French, 10% Asian of blood. You can drink. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, is your child gonna be an alcoholic?
20% alcoholism.
Oh, your child, are you gonna be an alcoholic, Erica? Here, Erica, let me fund your addiction.
No, please. Alcohol is quite literally poison.
Erica, let me fund your
I'm
addiction.
not even kidding.
Erica, have this alcohol on me, Erica. It's a very good alcohol. Oh, it's very good. It's very good. It's very good.
Before the police station is being
It has like,
established.
listen, it has like haste and strength and everything. It's very good. It's a good alcohol. I didn't give her anything bad. Hey, what's up? Move. Sorry, move. Oh, way to move the egg. Whatever the egg commands, I do. Okay. Oh.
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Fly.
yeah. We drink it together. Yes.
We fly. We dance.
Nice.
We fly.
I miss flying.
Oh, Celeste too? Oh, hi.
Yippee.
Yeah.
Remember if you're flying, hold your paraglider.
Oh wait, I need actually good shout. Paraglider equip.
Oh, I've missed flying.
Wait, what do
in the
you wait? You've
clouds,
missed?
wow.
You've flown before?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What do you think my wings are for sure?
Oh, true. Listen. I never really pay attention to the wing.
Oh, yeah. I
Oh,
forgot
hi.
about
Oh,
that.
Erica just
Woohoo.
you go splat. Oh, Erica just didn't. I don't think. Use the player. It just went down. Here. Okay, yeah, easily. Where did okay. Okay.
Did you like it?
Like, bro, what do you think these are? Props?
I didn't. No, I didn't. Okay, I'm gonna be real. I did notice them. Listen.
You don't use
Listen.
paraglider?
I meet people for their personality, not for their, not for.
Their abilities?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, child, please use your paraglider.
I think abilities are very objective. I'm not a very objective person. Except for Celeste. Celeste is the prettiest person alive.
It's funny how it's a kid who is a child was building the police station.
As she should. What a queen.
Listen. I feel like the CPS needs a child perspective. Yeah, Celeste is the sheriff.
That you should.
Listen, I feel like it makes sense for a child to be the sheriff of the child protective service. They know what cruelty is. You know what I mean? I feel like it makes sense.
Oh.
They know, like, you know.
My paraglider. Does someone have my paraglider?
I think Celeste took it. I think. I saw.
Make it. Is your home jail? Thank you.
A winged egg? Oh my god, a winged egg is crazy.
Aw.
That's crazy. I like
They
that.
said they're bad at names, so.
No, it's okay. No, listen, I think it's a beautiful name.
You're a little bad, baby.
I think
This-
Ofra
no,
calls
silly,
Erica
this is the
mother's
prisoner's home.
gay.
Celeste, I think they're saying they're gonna be a prisoner here. I think that's what's happening. I think they wanna. I think they have violated the CPS terms. They've already violated the CPS. I've committed many crimes. I might be. Wait. This is a very picturesque moment, Erica. This is a very picturesque moment, I think. Wait, we do this? Oh. Wait, one more. Wait, one more. Okay, one more. Pose. Oh my god, dude. Okay, please. Can we just get a picture?
Photo boom.
Wait. Okay. I've got one. Wait, I'll send you where. I used
I have?
3. Yeah, here. Just take copies. I'm throwing copies out.
You coming?
Erica, you can distribute them if
I'll
you
make
want.
sure I'll bring beer when I visit both of you. Okay, I'll bring beer.
Celeste will have to set up laws.
Child protective laws is crazy. The CPS terms and conditions.
Set up the laws.
Listen, read the CPS terms and conditions ASAP.
The terms and conditions.
Oh, okay, dude. Pictures crashed my game so bad. Okay. Also, I think I killed Wisp.
Oh.
They've warped away.
She looks so cute with the kimono. Oh my god.
Oh no.
She's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that does look sick. Oh. Guys, we're getting. Okay.
Put away.
Echoes.
What is the floor gonna be? I feel like smooth stone fits pretty well.
Honestly, I feel like it would, yeah. I think Egg is nodding or Egg is
Smooth stone
thinking.
work?
Egg is deliberating. Egg is typing.
I'll never be jailed.
This is so small. Yeah, I mean, they're prisoners. They don't deserve much room. Let's be real. Like,
We could expand it a bit.
could expand it. Oh my.
Make a second floor. Make a bottom floor.
Oh yeah, you could. I think that. This is a
The
mountain
bottom
though.
floor should be for the prisoners.
Yeah, this is like the reception area. The reception. Oh, but there is
Oh.
Yeah, and it's already mined out for you.
Tavern.
It's already mined out. They live in a cave. That'd be perfect, honestly. They just live in a big cave full of creepy spiders and stuff.
No. Listen, we're not one of those jails that treat our prisoners badly. We look for redemption.
Oh, okay. We're going for the redemption arcs. Okay. I get it.
We'll have some redemption arcs in the jail.
Let's go. The CPS redemption arc is gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
Who is the president of the CPS right now?
Celeste.
Me.
Oh, yeah, you and then Celeste is the
Me.
sheriff. Yeah. Welcome.
Celeste is the officer.
The head officer. Yeah, this is crazy.
We should have an organization chart.
Oh,
there.
so Sam and Erica safe, right? Probably. For all the crimes Erica's committed.
I do need to set up some staff for CPS.
Does anyone have?
Oh
Yeah, here. Take this.
List.
Alright,
How much
you can keep it.
my dear.
I get 2. Okay. Imagine you can make a crime and a
And
toddler
toddler
shows up to your
shows up
house.
to your
Dude,
house.
that'd be fun, dude. Honestly.
Listen,
That would-
Celeste
listen.
demanded
I believe
she can
Erica-
Erica, if it's you who go to their house, they'll be scared.
Erica, have you
Yeah,
seen
they'll
Boss
be
Baby?
scared.
Erica, have you seen Boss Baby?
Mhm.
That is exactly what this is. This is exactly what this is. Just Boss Baby,
Yeah.
but egg form. Boss egg. Boss
Yep.
eggy.
Oh,
Oh my god, that's
two
insane.
cells.
Wait, how do you open the? Wait, did you
Shield
use a
door.
key? Wait, it's probably lever. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Holding cell. Good.
That's crazy. Erica's like, no, not me, not me.
You wanna go in?
Run. Listen, Erica, float up, never come back down till you're safe.
Oh no, bro.
Sounds like a plan.
Oh, bro. No.
Exactly. Wait. And this is hard to get there.
제치였어.
Oh. Yee. Oh, Frank is already getting cozy. Oh no, we let a prisoner loose.
I feel like a decent bit of this needs to be reinforced.
Probably, because he's just gonna break out. I mean, you could get one of those things that just dumps everything out of the inventory the moment they go in the holding cell, and it goes to the
I
chest.
barely heard a word you
Oh,
said.
I'm saying we could do the thing where it's a scanner, and before you go to the cell, it deletes your whole inventory and puts it in the chest.
I think the room is too small. Well, this is just the holding
It's a holding cell, you know. It doesn't need to be big.
Oh no.
My child, get out of there.
No, listen. I think Erica wants to feel like a prisoner just because, like, she's always a princess. She wants to feel the opposite side of the world, you know.
Opposite.
We are the prisoners. You know.
We are the prisoners of the eggs world. That's so true. Yeah, white does look nice.
Okay, my brain is not working right now.
Think
I'm,
so?
I'm gonna go
So
to
what
sleep.
wait, what are you, by the way? Like, what
Okay.
kind
Good night.
of, good night.
Okay.
What were you, by the way?
Bye.
Bye. Like, what were you, like, in the wings? Like, it looks like I was genuine want to say, okay, that makes sense. I was just checking. I don't assume, you know.
Yeah. Alloys are made
Bye.
of many souls and
Bye-bye.
spirits. So
That's cool. Are they? I'm guessing they're good spirits, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
They mainly go around looking for purpose.
True.
2, 4,
But, oh my
5,
god, just like
5,
Foolish.
57 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, just like me. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're perfect. Oh, egg. Oh yes.
I'm just happy to help.
I guess typing.
No.
I'm gonna.
Hence why the CD is filming. Quick, everyone has to close their eyes. and
Wait,
go
slash,
far
real
away.
quick, real quick.
Understood.
I got DMs from 2 people saying they're Daplin's parents, and then I think they're one they're called to reaching. They DM me. I think Lulu 123 Lulu messaged me, and then they said Leo is cool as Osa. Okay, yeah. I'll message them back.
What?
God. 1 second. We need to go far away, guys.
Okay. And go far away. Okay.
You need to go far away. Okay.
How far?
Far that we can't see this place. So maybe like
Okay.
we go to that pink building over there. That one over there. Okay, let's go. Ready? We paraglide in 3. Oh, does everyone have paragliders? Oh yes. Erica does use paraglider. Erica, we just jump. Good looks last. Oh, there's a monster in there. Okay, Erica. Erica's going straight for the violence. I like that.
Oh, please. No.
You die, you motherfucker. This guy's a oh.
Nightmare.
Oh no. Nightmare? Oh no. Where? Oh, it's
a
like
bit
me.
laggy. My God.
I don't know, is that me or is that I'm getting poisoned? I think I'm. Oh. Okay. Dude, who made these guys so powerful?
Come on.
Die, please. Die and don't come back. Goodbye.
Nice.
Where okay. Erica's safe, I think. Erica's ran off. Erica's fighting another pumpkin. Erica, no. Okay, Erica, let's go get this guy. Oh, that guy's easy.
laggy.
Cool. Okay, you can have that. Here, you want this? Here, take it. You can have it. Oh, you don't like, yeah, coal is likes coal. Oh. Not bad. Okay, what are the other guy dead, alright. Oh, you want like a ladybug too? Okay. Okay, what is? Oh, this is the dye shop. What's the thing?
I
I think
know.
it looks so sick. It looks like a gesture. Okay, it looked like a gesture tattoo bar, but it looks like a very cool like, tent, circus tent.
I helped make this.
No, no, I know, I like it. It's very good. Like, like I just it looks what? Oh, this is
Pufferfish house.
dude. This is such a funny house. Oh,
Oh, this is his place that we can change.
Erica is this okay?
Oh no. Oh no.
Ah, it doesn't do any damage. I love it. Oh, there's a monster. A lumberjack. So, do you know whose villagers is at spawn, by the
Aw.
way?
No.
Okay, okay. She's just vibing. Okay.
Nice and cozy.
It's so very small. Oh, here. Oh, tree. Hello. Sound, let me go up.
Technically, my house is just right over there.
Wait, which
Yeah,
one?
actually. Have you seen Erica's room before?
Oh no.
Follow me.
Okay,
It's just here, yeah, nearby.
okay. Let's go. I think I might have actually. Rain.
Welcome to my house.
Oh wait. Oh no, I've been here. I've broke into this house before. Yeah, I remember this. You could have like 50 people just broke into this house. Yeah, I remember that. It was fortified house in all of the lands.
Just come with me.
Okay, okay.
Some of the rooms are finally getting worked on.
Oh, that's sick. Let's go. We love progress. Welcome. Yep, definitely you've never broken here before. Okay.
Look, my potions room is
Ooh.
almost
Oh,
done.
I like the flooring. The flooring. Oh, Brimwood is so cool. I like it. Oh, this is also sick.
This is my potions room.
Dude,
We're
this
not
is so
done
sick.
Oh,
yet,
the sound.
obviously.
Oh, the sound. Oh my god, wait. This is some ASMR kind of shit. Okay. It's a lot of brewing stands, but honestly, go for it. Oh,
And
this
then
is
if you
cool.
come over here, this is gonna be the library,
Ooh.
as you can see by the books on the wall.
Yeah, it's honestly a very. Oh, there's some good books
There's
in there.
actual books in here. So
Yeah, there's some good books. Because I can.
if you come with me,
Okay, okay.
over here is my storage and furnace room.
Ooh, terminal. Sick. Wait. Ooh.
And this-
Oh, you're gonna do the
Actually,
thing where
that's
you can
only
like
more breakfast.
you know the thing where you can access your inventory from anywhere. I mean your chest from anywhere. I heard that's
Yeah.
dude, it's so sick. Okay.
Over here,
It's out. Okay.
obviously, is my room.
Oh yeah, obviously. The biggest room
I
of
have
all.
my Erica plushie.
Oh
my
dude.
keys.
Oh my god, that's actually so adorable. Okay.
This originally was gonna be a portal before, you know, the portals could go out of the border. So it's not like this
Oh yeah.
forever now.
Yeah, we did the same thing at Celeste House. It was bam good, like very designed portal, and it just never. We filled it with purple stained glass,
Yep.
so it looks like it's active, but it's not.
And these are packs I still have yet to put somewhere.
Ooh, okay. Ooh, this is very cute. This is a
If
very
you
cool
come-
room. Oh my god,
I've
little
yet
cat.
to decide what I'm gonna do with these side rooms, but you know. And then this side is Celeste's area.
Wait, Celeste area?
Not Celeste. I keep next.
Oh my god,
Erica's.
you called Erica's. How could you?
No.
Oh
I
my
have
god.
done this for weeks.
For
now. I'm
years.
so sorry.
Erica's this is for
Oh, no.
Erica's been here for 2
Erica
weeks.
and Celeste. I don't know why I continue to confuse them.
It's not listen,
I'm
Erica.
sorry.
Erica, it's okay, Erica. I know
I'm
your name. It's
sorry.
alright. I know your name. It's alright.
I don't mean to. Genuinely, I don't mean
That's
to.
alright. Listen, honestly, I get that. Listen,
I'm
dude,
sorry.
Void calls B empanada like 3/5 of the time. It's alright. It's a common thing. It's honestly, see, you know, I feel like yours is better than Void because Void just calls up an egg that doesn't exist on the screen. But listen.
Yeah, this is Erica's prison.
Oh yeah, I have been here before. Yeah, I've experienced less
At
and everything.
prison.
Yeah, I mean,
My people are in prison.
oh, so the CPS office is like kind of perfect for you, isn't it?
Anywho, over here is for
So that's the I was
Wait,
yeah, I
is
was
there
here.
a
I was here
prisoner
for that.
gone? Was there a prisoner did a jailbreak?
Oh, is it
Oh.
jailbreak? You need to fix this for the CPS
It's
office.
empty
You
here.
can't have
yeah,
this happen.
there is a rain frog.
You can't have that happen in the CPS office. No jailbreaks. If everyone's there, they serve their time.
Ooh!
Oh my. Oh, that's tiny.
My child, look.
Oh, that looks sick. What? That looks so
Oh, it's
sick.
so cute.
Dude, what the heck? Okay.
Aw.
They had the same idea I had for the clothes. It's just I added
Dude,
some.
that looks so sick.
Oh, it's adorable.
Look at that mouth.
Mhm.
Look at that nose. It looks so cool. Oh, dude, it's very sick. There's this dude. All the eggs, dude, they're like crowded. Like there's so many plushies. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
This is
insane.
also incredibly reinforced.
Oh yeah, so is ours. So is the
Double layer.
Double layered.
double layered. Yeah, that's cute. Dude, I
Like,
B need
top
B.
to
Dude,
bottom.
this B needs security. So I think B's gonna be the only egg that doesn't have a very secure one.
Trust me.
You
There
there?
will be wellness checks for every egg.
Dude, B just doesn't. He just lives in an underground
He
thing.
lives in a basement.
Yeah, B lives in a
Yeah.
basement, dude. No, so see, no, see, B, no, but see, B, no,
no.
but see, B likes the basement. No, that was me, free doors. Listen, guys,
Anywho,
dude, that looks sick. You have a lot of stuff.
this is our house.
Wait. How does Eric have so much other armor? That's insane. It's crazy. That's very funny.
Listen, as she should.
As he should.
She
As the egg should. I
As
agree.
she
Mhm.
should.
That's as they should. I agree.
Oh my.
You're
she's
why are you
rich.
so rich? How are you rich? Can we try to
Yes, she's rich.
She's our little princess.
So how you should?
Yeah.
But like, oh my fudging god, dude. Wait, huh? No, dude, my XP is going from 3 to 4, 3 to 4, 3 to 5. I think I've broken my XP. Okay, let's go back.
Oh.
Wait, does your backpack
Oh
have a
no,
map?
when the backpack is put down on the ground, it will take
Oh.
away others' XP.
Oh, so you just stole my XP,
Oh, yeah.
Erica. I see. I'm joking.
My
Okay.
XP.
Yes.
I guess my
That's
XP.
why I always
lost.
keep my XP only one.
Yeah, I
'cause
do
it's
one.
way
Yeah.
taken away.
I can't believe it, Erica. I come to your house and this is all a ploy to get my XP. I see how it is. Add it to my list of crimes. Honestly,
Do we
okay.
need baby jail?
Yeah, honestly, no. Listen, if you put the eggs, no, if you don't listen, if you put the eggs with the other prisoners, they'll have someone take care of them.
No.
So like, I feel like it'll work. Like there's probably one prisoner in here who can take care of Erica in prison.
Imagine the eggs are getting along well with the other prisoners.
That'd be hilarious.
They're having so much fun in there.
Dude, they're like this. They don't want to leave. Their sentences up. They just do another crime on purpose. Just to not leave. Dude.
Bruh.
Erica's prison arc is gonna go hard, by the way. I mean, the food fair already threatened.
That's what we mean.
Dude,
Bruh.
the Erica prison arc is gonna go wild. Crazy.
You're not going to
Uh-huh.
prison arc.
You'll be
Listen,
the boss.
You
in
think
the
you're gonna
prison.
wait? You think
You'll
you're
be
gonna
the
choice?
boss.
If the egg wants to go to prison, the egg can go to prison. Let's be real here.
Bruh. It's my child. I'm not gonna let her go to prison.
I'll be the one stabbing and leading gangs. True.
No.
Yes,
Just-
you'll be the
Erica-
boss gang.
Just look at
Yeah,
your face,
you'll be the
Erica. Erica,
boss.
just look at your face. Look at your head, man.
Leadership is
You
being
will.
trained since
You
young.
will. You will. You will just lead the gangs. Listen, you've already prepared. Listen, okay. Listen, you come in my
You will not
house,
be a bad influence in my own home.
dude. I'm not the only one though. What-
I've already talked to this with Sis and Erica. You gotta respect me when I ask you no.
Oh, okay. Erica, do
No.
not lead gangs. Do not go to prison. Prison is bad. So is alcohol and drugs. Everything is bad. All right. Do not do any of those things. Come to my house if you want
You,
some.
you don't
Okay.
involve with them, but you can catch them, okay? You don't involve with them. You catch them,
Catch
okay?
yeah. You'll be the most
You
badass
catch
cop.
them.
You'll be the most badass
You're
cop.
the one put them in behind the
Yeah.
the bars, you know?
Yes. That's
Stab the
Yes, yes.
honestly,
Let's
they
just
deserve it.
try.
They'll
You'll be the
deserve it.
strongest police, you know, like the strongest officer
I
there.
think Erica can
Mhm.
stab people. I think that's Erica's vibe. Erica just it's so Erica core, honestly. So Erica core.
Eric Core.
Stab people. Let's go. Let's go.
Listen, it's Everest's influence. Don't.
It seems to have
Okay,
worked. It
once,
seems
just
to have
say
worked.
once.
Offering is done. It seems to have worked. Erica's first target.
I still need
Boom.
to talk to them. Oh God.
Oh, dude. Do you know the best emote ever existing in the world? This emote's the best emote ever.
Oh.
What's this?
Why?
Just funny. Yeah, look at that. Look at
What?
that.
You don't don't even shrink.
Dude, the head just goes down. Dude, it's crazy.
Egg.
Very funny.
It's so cursed. Should we go back to see if the prison's fixed?
She didn't say anything yet.
Trauma.
I can go check. I'll go check. Because I'm ever having to
yeah.
walk back. And you guys see, I'll message in the chat if it's ready. Because I don't
Oh
want
my
everyone walking
God.
back. Okay, B or B. Fawn. I go. Celeste, over here. Celeste. Is it done? Why is there so many doors? This is crazy. Okay, it's not done yet. Okay, I will go away. My child has learned to fly. My child's using her wings. Let's go. What's up? They asked me to come check if it was done or not. And I see Bill one. Okay. No worries. I know. It's very annoying. Listen, no, it's alright. Take your time. Listen, Erica's just talking about stabbing people. So yeah, it's fun. We're chilling. Alright, take your time. Oh, sick. Alright, we should head back. I think they're not done yet. Let me go. What? Wow. Oh, it's a blank. Okay. Oof, what's the torch? Alright, let's go back. I guess I'll have back. What's the ways called that they have? I forgot what it's called. No, completely wrong area. Oop, that's bad. I should have done that. Hello? Are they gone? Where'd they go? Oh, brain dead. There goes first one then. There are so many doors. This is crazy. Oh, guys, it's not done yet, guys. It's not done. Oh, it's not done yet. It's not done yet. Oh yeah, they're just spectating Wing Deck. I think they're just chilling. I don't know what they're doing. It's not done yet, so I don't want to go to Serve Celeste. Oh,
Yeah.
Erica wants to go to Serve Celeste. Okay, we go to Serve Celeste while they're doing God's work, literally.
Oh.
Erica's a mysterious person.
Their art is beautiful though. So
Yeah.
respect.
He's very mysterious. Very mysterious kind of person.
Did I have the right warp? Like get by.
Erica tried grappling on off, right? That was the funniest thing.
We take you to the right one.
I think this works though. The share still works.
Alright. Bye.
You can choose spring resort.
They haven't left. Fluffy's Create Cave. That's cool. We'll go up and look. I've been left. One of the hot springs thing. Or where's the backpack? That can go there. Go in there. That can go in. I'll do this. I'll do this. auto spawn? Oh, there it is. It's just lagging. Then. No, you know what I want? I want the blasters. Hello? Hello? Who's name looking? Oh, hi.
I'm wallowing in my sorrows.
Oh, what happened?
Come down here.
Okay, okay. No way. Alright. Oh, wait. Oh, that's a lot of horses. Oh my god, that's a lot of horses.
And not a single one of them is moving.
Oh, wait. Honestly, it's kind of funny. It looks like a carousel at like a carnival.
Yeah, but I can no longer breed them.
Oh wait, actually,
I can't.
what if you just
Look at these diamond horses.
what do you just push them
Two
together?
of them have a 5.28.
Wait, what if you just like wait, huh? Wait, what if you just wait? What if you give them the carrots or like stuff and then just push them together and hope they
I
have a
did do
shot?
that.
Oh, ooh.
That was the first thing I did. They just stay in place.
Maybe it's just this chunk. We tried moving it out of
It's
the.
not just this chunk, because these horses were from like my base.
Oh wait, wait. Well, let me look. Let me think.
And it's not all the horses. Because there was like, luckily there's a few left that I can still breed. And luckily I still have two like maxed out
Oh, okay.
speed horses. I still have two maxed out speed horses. But the other two, they're in here because they're frozen.
Let's wait. It's such a why?
Nope, not any admins, no way.
I mean, wait. Let me look. Wait, let me see. Okay. Have we tried just hitting them and hoping they move?
You can't even hit them.
What? Wait. I'm ready. Wait. Let me try something. Okay. I want to try something. Okay.
Do you realize how close I was to get a max out jump?
No,
Since I
that's
had, like,
actually so
4
annoying.
max out speed ones.
Do you have gravel? We tried dumping gravel on them, see if that does damage them.
Gravel?
Yeah. I'm just googling stuff. And that's a suggestion. Some gravel them and suffocate them. We didn't make them move.
No, you can't even hit them.
Yeah, but then gravel might be a thing because it's not us hitting them. It's the
I don't have gravel on me.
Ooh, okay. Let me see. Oh, and you got sales though. At least I think people. So like, if you move them, they don't. If you like create them and anything, that doesn't work.
What?
If you like
You
create
can't
them.
move them, and you can't put them in cages.
What? But you can put them in cages. I think the energy just. I think the energy just bugged. Oh, the tail moved. Wait,
Yeah,
so you
they're all
can.
just
You can ride them.
Yeah, you can ride them, so that's why I'm still selling them. But
Honestly,
you
to be
see,
fair.
I can't breed them.
No, honestly, I'm being real though. Okay, I know it's kind of fucked. I feel like this makes a perfect horse since they can't run away from you. Like you don't even feel stable anymore. This just stays there.
Yeah.
Wait, return images. Does that work? Okay. Nope. It's still. I was trying to move this stuff. That doesn't work. Okay. So and what? Dude, I've never heard of this ever happening.
This isn't the first time. Like, if you go to my base, like, there's even like cats that are frozen.
Now I don't know. Okay, that's so animals are just frozen then. So like. So
And it didn't happen to me. It happened to a bunch of other people.
wait.
Where their pets are like frozen. Like
That's
French had like
insane.
2 crows, and they were in cages, but they can't move. They're in the exact same state.
What? That didn't happen to us last time.
Well, and also like it happened to like some villagers. You know, it would be fine if it was just villagers, but like
That's
this sucks because like
wait no.
5.28.
That's I don't. This is in. This
This
is.
makes me want to cry because look at these stats and I can't breed them.
Dude, that's crazy. What, dude? Genuinely, how the? That's crazy. I'm stunned. This is an insane bug. What? Dude, this is like. Is it just spawn or like no? It's not spawn. It happened to your house as well. That's such a weird. Let me look. Wait. Google.
Yeah, I think I just need to put them in cages before I log off. Otherwise, this might happen again.
True.
And probably put them in my backpack. Because the ones
Maybe.
I have, I do have crows in my backpack that are perfectly fine.
Doesn't work. Okay, so this doesn't work.
Yeah, but this is like all of them. It's
Wait.
literally all of them.
Oh, it's annoying. It didn't work. It didn't move. Oh, it's annoying. So you can put them in cages, but you just can't, like, what? That's such a weird. Why is the bug? How does this even how in the world does this even happen?
It sucks because I was like 0.1 away from getting a maxed out jump horse. This is.
Dude, that's actually what I'm so like. Dude, that's so annoying. What, dude? Fuck. Wait.
They gave me some like replacement horses, but like they couldn't get like a high like jump or like max out speed.
You were
But
so
it's fine.
close.
I had two that are still working.
That's
But
good.
like now I'm gonna put them in cages.
Yeah, I would not. That's so annoying now because you're not on. No one can buy horses. I mean, I guess think about these ones because they can't do it. They might as well sell them. So irritating. Why don't they ever move? Move, buddy, move. Wait. Oh, wait. What if he? What do damage? Do damage to them? So weird. What? That's actually crazy.
I think I deleted my white horses by accident. Whoops.
Oh. That's such a weird, like, what the fuck? Dude. I'm so, like, this is insane.
I know. I'm just wallowing right now. I'm like.
No, I would do the same. This is crazy.
Really, like, cause like this takes a lot of work.
No, no, 100%. I get that. It takes so much work, but it's so annoying if it doesn't work.
And the fact I can't breed like 2.28 to get a 5.29 is just, oh my god.
Dude, it's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, the highest one I have right now that is not bugged like this is a 5.26. So.
Dude, that's.
Which is like not bad, but like it's not to this level, you know?
No, honestly, this is such a weird little thing. What the fuck, dude? I don't. We can't even wait. What if you just try What if can you shoot them?
Nope.
It just bounces. What? This is like. They've been possessed. The fuck? Wait. It bounces off them. What?
Yeah, there's even like I even have like a villager in my house that is just frozen in place.
So it just.
Exactly like the.
Wait. Okay. To be fair, these must sell a lot though, because they're invulnerable horses that will never die on you, and they can't run away from you. That's okay.
That is true.
That is a plus side, I think, of this. That they're like, I feel like you could market these rare. You could use this to your advantage. Like these are invincible horses, like genuinely.
So should I up the price?
You should up the price because they're invincible horses. I think you should. Because they don't die,
So do
they don't run away.
20, 25, 30.
100%. Because they don't run away from you. They don't take damage. They can fall in holes and nothing will happen. Like and when you're fighting, people can't kill your horse and you're running it. Shoot it down.
True.
Ooh, and if they're shooting it, it bounces back at you. So like it's like. Wait,
And
so
also,
yeah. Oh yeah.
You can't like breed them to get like better stats because you literally can't.
True, and he's like near perfect stats. Okay, that's insane. That's okay. Use it to use the fucked up thing to your advantage. That's what I say. Use it to your advantage. You know, it's annoying, but it make you more money. Dude, that's crazy. What the hell? What kind of a bug is that?
I don't know. I looked it up, and apparently it's a very old one.
Yeah, I know. I looked up too. It's like very old. It's like from Xbox days, I think. That's crazy though. What the hell? Like, you can breed them. You can. How does that not decide at all?
Yeah, you can't breed them, so
That's insane.
you get what you get essentially.
True. Dude.
But who wouldn't want like a 14?
True. That's
like a fully
crazy.
maxed out,
What the
speed
hell?
horse.
Like, dude, like if you. What if I? Okay, can I? I'm just trying everything.
And
now.
also, you know when they do like entity clearance
Yeah.
or whatnot, there will still be there.
Oh wait, that's actually so. Oh wait, that's actually so smart. Wait, that's actually hilarious.
That's what happened to my villager.
That's crazy, dude.
Wait, I
Wait.
can like show you. I think I have a share still.
Okay. Actually, I kind of need to see my eggs. My eggs are building right now. God mode.
Oh, you building right now?
My eggs building in God mode right now. So
Oh.
we could show. We could
Do you
show.
want to see it or?
Yeah, I'm down. So let me just go see what they're up to. Let me go see if they're done.
Let's see what they're doing, and then I can show you
Okay.
my bugged out villager as well. That
Alright.
happened like ages ago.
So I'll be right back. All right. I'm gonna go see someone's God villager. Dude, that's insane. Alright, dude, that's a crazy bug that I've never
Yeah,
had that happen.
I'll just put like in chat like now,
Like, okay.
and I'll call the share still on Brady.
Alright, I see. Dude, like, I've had so many Minecraft servers that's never happened. Okay. What color is regular Tristan?
Black.
Okay. Black Tristan. Okay. Wait, which one is the bugged one?
Right
Oh,
here.
wait. How do you walk? Okay, wait. Oh, is that a fake? Wait. How did you walk through the wall? Wait. How are you?
I thought I caged you.
Wait, how are you walking through objects? Did you have a?
You
How
can
do you-
walk right through it. You can hit it. You can break the block underneath it.
Wait. That's actually, dude. I want to take a spot, just hover it, and just have it floating in midair. That could be so funny. Wait. Does it sell? Wait, you can still trade with it. Okay, wait, listen, fucks. It's gonna be really funny. What if you just like have it floating in midair spawn?
Wait, which one are you? You're on breaking 3.
Dude, that'd be so
You
funny.
can't move it. You can't cage it.
This one just oh wait, can you? Oh, you can't. Oh wait.
You can cage the horses, but you can't cage the villagers. And see, like, you know when they were like clearing villagers, it survived it.
Oh wait, interesting. So you can move it. Wait. I want to do. What about this? Wait.
Yeah, we tried a cage. That's the first thing that we did.
Wait, let me try. I need to check something. I need to find something. Wait. Okay. I'll be right back. I'll try something. Okay, I'll be right back. I need to go to Okay, give me 1 second. It's crazy. Wait, so this guy. Wait, we tried using lasses. Wait, this. Wait, it does. Oh, probably wait. Does that not work? Wait,
Oh, it does work with lassos, but you still can't move it.
What? That's crazy. Give me a last buddy. Give me. Wait, it's okay. So wait. Hitting doesn't work. Wait, what about this? You know what it is? It's just not an entity anymore. I think it's just a blank. It like the villagers just show it. It's not an entity there anymore. I don't think it's just the trading mechanics there. The entity's just gone. Fucking, its soul left his body literally. What the hell? Wait. So.
You can't place. Yeah, you know we were gonna like make this like look nice. We can't do that because there's goddamn villagers here.
Wait. Wait.
And even like when like they cleared, you know, all villagers, it's still there.
Okay, I kind of want to figure this out now. Okay, wait. Okay, so like this, and then like this, and then like. What if like underneath that doesn't work? Oh, okay, wait. Actually, there might actually be a way. Okay, I want to try something. Brain is working overdrive. Oh, wait. Hi, Box. Hiya. I found this bug in a Minecraft server. Do you know this bug where the villager doesn't move? You hit it, it doesn't fucking move. Gotta figure that out. Okay, how you doing though, mate? Okay, wait. So, okay, I need this iron. So do this. Wait, do I have it in my crate up?
Well,
Okay.
I can also show you the horses that.
Wait,
Lots of
1 second. Let me try something. Let me try one thing quickly. Wait, so that works. Wait, no shot where it just doesn't go to it. Minecarts can go through it. That's crazy. What?
Yeah, you saw the villagers just going straight through it.
No, it doesn't go through it. It just doesn't. It's blocked. Wait. Oh, I figured out a way.
You did?
Yeah, it moves the minecarts.
Wait.
Minecarts work.
No way it does.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. God gamer.
Oh, thank God, because that's been in a way for like ages.
Now, if you can move it to this cage over here. Okay, if I put a cage over here, put it here.
Oh, that's so smart.
Okay. But we're pushing. Oh, okay. Maybe if you just break it. Great. Oh, Celeste. I figured out how to move these guys using minecarts. Okay.
Yes, this is a very broken ass village.
Okay. Brain is working overdrive right now, Celeste. Brain is working overdrive. Is your project done? Okay.
This is fun.
Okay.
I think, yeah, we had that villager since like before, like
Okay. Now if I
ages, I think.
stop. Okay. Yep. All right. Give me a second. I'll come check it out. I was trying to put this kind of cage. Why do arcades supposed to always take 2 tries to break it? Such an annoying thing.
It
Okay.
does.
Okay, bro.
Also, it seems very laggy today.
True.
And with me, like, on and off shaders, it's like the exact same thing with the lag.
Oh, wait, please.
Please.
Oh, okay. What the fuck? Okay, I have an idea. Wait, give me a second. Okay, I have a very good
If
idea.
you
Wait.
had the cage right there, you would have gone in the cage.
Yeah, I'm so annoyed. Okay.
Here, I can break this. I have, Warpstone upstairs.
Okay, sick. Okay, wait. Brain.
This isn't where, like, my actual house is, because
Okay.
this is just where I have all my ugly shit at.
Boat. Oh my god, that boat is in place. Why is that boat lagging? Okay, so if we're here.
Nope. Oh, wait.
Oh, okay. Now, okay, where do I? Okay, now you put it on. Okay, where will it move? Can you do that? Oh, you can. Oh, you can. Can you? Okay, wait. So wait. Try flipping the other way. Like, okay, look like make the villager face towards this. That. Okay. Maybe if you just surround it in a box. Okay. Oh my god, what? Okay. Okay, now it's up there. Dude, this is actually annoying me. Okay. Okay,
But at least we finally got it out of here.
okay, it's gone. That's it. Okay, I kind of want to. Okay.
Yeah, we can just put a bunch of cages around it.
Yeah, we need tons of cages though. Okay.
And eventually go into one of them.
True. We'll eventually go to one of them. Wait, we'll make this one. Oh, wait, try that. Wait. Okay, and then
Right like that? Okay.
and then we're just gonna break this because it's back in the boat. And this is when the QSMB cages be very useful here. Okay, and then come on, my guy. Okay, now better fucking work. You know what I need? You know the trick where you can push a piston up on a boat? Wait, no, wait. I think we need that to push it up, so then you can get up there.
You need a piston?
Yeah, so we can push the boat up, I think. Maybe?
A regular piston or a sticky piston?
Just a regular piston, I think. Yeah, regular piston, okay. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna be so mad. Anyway, can you break the boat real quick? I think this might work.
Break the boat?
Let's break the boat. Oh, no way. No fucking way. Dude, you're in the trap, buddy. You're in the trap. Wait, maybe, okay.
It should be in the trap. Can you not trap it?
I should be able to, okay, boxes. Oh, it might be slightly there. I mean, where are the admins we need them to give us infinite cages? Wait, what if we just print a box? What if we wait? Actually, I have an idea. Okay, I have an idea. Okay, we're gonna break these. Okay, so okay, this might be, I don't know if this will work or not. Oh, hi Celeste. Dude, he's so close. Oh, it's a sick cat. You look very cute. I'm sorry, my brain is hyper focused right now. Okay, can you piston cage traps?
I have 8 cage traps.
Okay. I want to try something. Okay, so can I buy the piston?
Another piston?
Yeah. Water doesn't work. Okay, piston. So I want to try something. Brain don't know. Okay. So you do this.
I have a redstone torch.
Okay, 6. We do. Okay, not like this. We do like this. Okay, and then I put like a block here. Right? And then I do a cage trap. Can I buy a cage trap? Okay. Put it on top. Okay, and then if I do can I place this the torch?
Yeah, I think it works.
Ooh, it doesn't go up? What? Oh, that's annoying. What? That's an insane mechanic. We'll break it. I can't break that. It's not. Okay, wait. Maybe the torch doesn't work. Oh, it's over. Is it over there? Ooh, okay. So wait. Now we try. Piston there. Put piston. Then put the cage trap. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, so it's too heavy. What if we just put the cage trap? Okay, yeah. What if we just put the cage trap? Maybe that would work? Okay, dude, cage traps are annoying me. Okay, let's put the cage trap on. Okay, try the piston. No! Okay, I don't understand. What are piston mechanics? What are piston mechanics? Dude, it's so close. Oh, it's so close. How is it not in? Okay. Wait, no. What if he? Okay. Actually, I have an idea. Okay,
What
put
if
the
we just
what?
push, what if we try to push the villager with a block? Would that work at all?
Ooh, wait. Okay. Might as well try.
Wait, hold on. I need to use.
Yeah, put this back and then go try.
Oh, I can't put the block back.
Oh, it's annoying. Okay, wait.
Okay, there we go.
We try. Okay.
Let's see if we can push it, like, the block.
Okay, try the torch. Oh! Okay, that actually worked. That worked. Okay. So, break this. Okay. You're gonna hate how long these take to break. Why has no one have developed a mod to break this faster? Okay. Put that there. We'll try one more.
Doesn't it break faster than Paxel?
A what?
Paxel?
What's a paxel? Wait.
Oh, I don't think we have it.
Yeah, I don't think there is. Okay. Okay, piston try two. Okay. We'll try one more time, piston. I think so. Oh, yeah, these are very annoying to break. I'll help. Okay. Which one piston?
I had like 13 cages. Just one more cage.
Okay.
Just one.
Oh, let's go! Oh, it's over.
Finally!
Ah.
Oh my god.
Let's go.
Let's go.
It's in the cage.
And I can delete. Oh my
That's
god.
crazy. That's crazy. Let's go, Slash. Let's go.
Dude, that would have been there for eternity.
Let's go. I'm so glad I figured that out. Oh my god, it's insane.
Oh
Okay.
my god, thank you,
No
Jason.
worries. No worries. All right.
Yeah, like I can show you where the.
Okay. Okay. Are you good? Okay.
It's right here.
Ooh, okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. I think sauce is
Oh,
in.
wait, there's a present for me.
What? Oh, that's cute. Is it from Dapton or is it from Dapton? I don't know who it's.
Aw.
Ooh, that's cool. I have a hostage. What is happening?
What?
I think something CPS not to be activated. So that's
Oh no.
okay. You wanna go see the
These
bean?
horses better not bug out, otherwise I'll kill myself.
No, I understand that. I understand the struggle. What's up? Okay. Okay. I'll go to spawn. Okay.
Alright, see ya. I'm
Bye
gonna
bye.
like, work in my house.
Enjoy a villager's frozen free zone. Dude says, I've never seen that bug before in my life. I've had like 50 Minecraft servers. I've never seen that bug. That's crazy. Okay, let's go. Okay. Huh? What is? Oh, fudge. Okay, I'm here. Ooh, this looks sick. Oh my god, do I love it? Oh, police! I love this. It's a police station. This is sick. What the hell? What is happening in chat? What is going on? I think I know why it bug, and it's alright. No, Sass, it's actually very good, alright? I'll tell you why. These horses, they don't run away and they're immune to damage. So you can sell them for higher prices now. Let's go. Fox to make a profit now. Like if you shoot arrows at them, they just bounce away. Hey, you. It's great. Oh yeah, what's up? Okay, okay, okay. I also have stuff to do. Alright, Slash, I drop you back at your house. You wanna sleep in the PlayStation? Okay, whole house? Okay. Alright. Alright, let's go down. Alright, so that's been so fun hanging out. Hope we can hang out later, alright? Oops, oops, that's alright, listen. You're tucked in already. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Oh, where's the hug? Bye, ya. Alright, have a great rest of your night. Have a good nap, alright? Bye-bye. Alright, chat, I'm probably gonna... What am I gonna do now? I probably work in my house, maybe? I go to the base settings, work in my house a little bit. Look at that backpack. I have a mess right now. Oh, it's B awake. Is B awake? Oh my god. Egg. Another egg. There's another egg. B, hi. Oh. Hiya, B. How are you? You good? You good? Good morning. Good morning. Afternoon, I guess? Good afternoon. How are you? How are you? You good? Yeah. Ready to begin the day or continue the day? Good? Let's go. Here, have a great breakfast. Here, have this. Have some lovely breakfast and good morning or lunch, whichever one you're having. This one's weird. No worries, no worries. I think one of your parents is on. I think you wanna go? I don't know where they are. You can try to find them if you know where they are. I was just coming to work on my house and I saw you're awake. I'm like, oh my god, it's P. The one and only. You're sick. Oh, good night. Oh, that's such a cute sign. Break the bed, break the bed. Oh, where are your parents? Good question. Oh my god. So you'll break it eventually. You almost got it. Yeah. Got it. Alright. So what's your plan for the day? You got a plan ready? Anything to do? Any to-do list? Build aquarium? Oh, that sounds sick. I love me some fishes. Little fishies. It's very sick. That sounds so sick. I don't know where it is. lot of chaos happened today. Not really, it's just honestly it was a pretty chill day. It was a police. Okay, so do I. Oh, also there's a new police station by the way. If you want to go see that there, I think Celeste built it, and I think Miss No Name also helped a bit. The location, very funny. I still can't believe it's a thing. Hey, it is what it is. Very sick. So yeah, where the prisoners, where a place where prisoners will go now, with holding cells. It's very fun. Very, very fun. Oh my god, I have a pewter tonic. I want that. There's so much stuff I don't need. I don't need a crossbow. Oh my god, there's lots of stuff. That's what I need to make. Oh my god, I just picked these. Okay. I need to make a blast upgrade. Okay. Oh, backpack. So much junk. Okay. Where did my Asian debris? One second. I'm gonna quickly mine some gold ore. So much gold for golden carrots and apples. I have a magnet. Where's the magnet? Ooh, so much. Oh yeah, dude. Oh wait, that was yesterday. My brain. So close, so close. Almost done. That's sick. So much gold. Now I can go smelt that. Okay. And I want gold to smelt. And why do I have guano? What does guano do? Oh, that does nothing. That is absolutely nothing. Okay. Back to go ahead. Okay. I need a knife in the head. What is happening? Oh yeah, I think Off-Rock is going to do some stuff today. I don't know what is happening with that. Wrong one. Yeah, that's there. Create, that's also create. So much junk. Gotta stamina, we go. My dude, I feel so messy. Why is it so messy? When am I ever gonna use lanterns or jungle plants? Oh, I forgot. B, I bought this yesterday for myself. I got a little B plushie yesterday. My second plushie, I have the Celeste. It's so sick. It looks so cool. Oh my god. We will forever and ever. Coolest niece. Or nephew, one of the two. Whatever one. Sure. You want one? Or do you not have one yet? You don't have a B plushie? I can give you mine if you want it. You want it? Yeah, here you go. Oh, magnets already? I was always my stuff. So here you go. I got a new one. Oh, you'll get my own? Okay. Okay. I get it. It feels better when you earn it yourself, you know? That's what I like. I like that. Oh my, this is a cool pumpkin. Alright, dude. Dude, this backpack is crazy, by the way. Oh my god. What's the upgrade called? You just right-click backpacks. Yeah, I went dungeoning, and this is my dungeoning backpack that it was my music backpack, but I had to use it for dungeoning because I had so much just stuff. It's a complete mess. And you get the upgrade where you can just right-click stuff, and so it just goes in there. Yeah. What's that called? That one, the upgrade that you can just right-click backpacks and just goes in there. Is it Hey, look, is it? It's not this one. Is it called? Oh no, that one. Advanced repo? No. Oh, deposit upgrade. I think it's a deposit upgrade. I think it's a deposit. Okay, 10 equipment deposit upgrade. Oh my god, makes so much stuff. It's alright. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it in the end. It'll be worth it. Okay. Cobblestone, that's miserable. Wait, roll up. Do you have 4 cobblestone I can borrow real quick? Maybe I'm on a smooth stone by accident. I forgot to turn off the I don't want to chest. 4 cobblestone. I made mine a smooth stone by accident without gotta stop the furnace from blasting it all. I don't have it, I can get it, I can just go get it. It's very easy. Wait, no, cobblestone. You know the stone, the cobblestone, the basic block of Minecraft. Yeah, that. 34. Thank you. The most helpful Lego. Okay. I'm gonna make this. Okay, piston. That's good. Now I can make the deposit upgrade for that. 2 gold. You good, B? You wanna go do something? You gonna go find some. I heard you say 4 call out. Oh, sorry. Okay. How does this work? How does this, wait, a deposit? Wait. Okay, wait. Let's try this. I don't know how this works. Okay, so I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna figure this out. How does the deposit upgrade work? Okay, do I right click it? Wait, no, wait, so I have this backpack. I find my backpack if I do the deposit upgrade and I put it. Okay, I put it in here, I think. What did that do? Oh no! Ah, I don't think I did that right. I don't think I did that right at all. Okay, wait, let me try this again. How does that work? Oh my god, I figured it out. I'm so stupid. Okay. We'll try this again. Okay. I figured it out now. We'll put this down. We'll take this. We'll put the riches in here. Okay. That's good. Next. Alright, next. Next is the, Next we'll do what's next. Okay, next we'll do the music backpack. Okay, music. Oh, this is music. Okay. And then we'll do... Oh, let's go. Okay. This is some sick music. Dance. Jeez. I don't need this. This is all garbage. And then that can go in here. And then so much dark metal. You have so many. I have so many ideas of study backpacks. Plus, I have a head that like one of those heads. Not many, but that's something. I have so many backpacks. But I need so many backpacks. B. It's not a choice. Okay. What is Crimson Grape? I'm not gonna ask questions. Okay. Then this can go in here. Wrong one. So many backpacks, this is crazy. Now, what else do I need? So I have iron. That can go in there. And then seeds can go in where's my seed backpack? There, that can go in there. That can also go in there. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna trash all this seed. Can you give me a second? Okay, trash time. Trash, 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 trash. Oh my god, dude, I hate dungeons because of how much organizing I need afterwards. It's the worst. Oh no! Okay, I almost got it away. Next up. Okay, that's done. What hat will I get? Oh, hi! Oh, hi, Blossom. Good morning. Hello. I've literally came at the perfect time, Blossom. I'm done organizing my stuff. Oh my god, look at this cute hat. Here, God, look at this cute hat. You would soda. You can have it if you want. I don't want it. I mean, it's cool. You can wear it. It looks very cute. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wait, give me a second picture. Pose. Oh, that looks adorable. Here, I'll give you a copy. Okay. I've done organizing, I think. Yep, organizing is done. Let's stop. Okay, turn this off. Okay. Okay, that's done. Doop doop. Doop. So Blossom, what's your plan for today? Anything interesting planned? Fun. I watched my goddaughter, or my daughter who's a god, build a police station today. That was my day. Okay. I'm gonna finish decorating the school. Oh my god, you guys are all building cool things. That's so fun. So fun. I'm just gonna be so stuck. I'm also gonna build the aquarium and the school. That's so fun. So fun, fun, fun. Oof, cool head. It was very fun. Very, very exciting. Okay, so where do we go? I'm glad the water is separated from me. Oh yeah, Boston doesn't like swimming. I don't think Boston's the biggest swimming fanatic. Yeah, I remember from the Celeste Blossom era. That was a big arguing point. That's all the past now. Blossom's typing. I sing a lot like 100% of the time. Listen, you know, Blossom, we can make a school, but we can also make a swimming school. Hi. Hello.
Hello.
I'm almost done. Give me like 1 second,
Yes,
and I'm
here.
done. What is this? B, look at this pattern I got. This is such a weird thing. I don't know where I got that from. It just stared at you. You hop over it, just kind of stared. This is very funny. A flower.
Morning.
See, they both just woke up, so they're bright and awake for the day.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Erica. Hello. What is this? I don't know. I got them into your home over. It's a banner pattern. You put in a banner. And it's so weird. It's so funny. It's a funny one, I think. Ooh.
It's oh.
That's funny. That's very funny.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, you have big plans today?
Yeah, they're building, I think. They're building a school. Oh my
Oh,
god.
be
That
careful,
scared the
there's pets
crap
here,
out of me.
Erica.
Oh,
There's
they're all
pets
pets.
here.
We don't want another
Be
incident,
careful.
please. This place has been enough. But
Oh, nice.
you see? Spin as fast as you can. Spin it. Just don't stop spinning until this earth explodes. Come on, fast. Wait, I'm trying my keybind. Use
Oh,
use this.
nice.
Oh no, you this X. Fast. Holding it down.
Yay.
Explode. Slowly move around.
So, Blossom parents, do you want to take the photo after Blossom finish decorating, or take it now when the Iggies are awake?
We gonna go find them. Okay, let's go. I'm done my stuff.
Since there's one classroom
Alright.
ready, or
Just-
two, I think there's two
Head out.
classrooms ready.
Head out and about. Fine. Okay, let's go. Okay, it's cool. You go find them.
Yes,
I'll
there's
mess with
two
them.
classrooms ready. Mhm.
There's a lag area. I'll mess with them. Hello. Hey.
You wanna see?
Yeah. Okay, I messed with them.
We go to the
Okay.
community field.
You go spawn. Yes.
The Rose community field.
Oh my god, I'm lagging. I can't use any waste stones.
Oh no.
Wait. Your egg once parents. Can you guys use the waste stone? Oh, why can't I use the waste stones? Hello? Game? What? Oh my god. See, I forgot I changed my use key, and I was right clicking the whole time. Give me a second. Game is annoying. I bugged my. Wait, okay, wait. Are you to fix it real quick? Use. No, that's you. That's you. Okay, I found this one. Okay. 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 Spawn. Okay, you're at your parents' coming, right? Oh, so that crown looks very pretty. I mean, I don't have paper, so I can't take photos of you, but hey, it looks very cute. Are your parents here? Be your parent. They're here. Hello.
Hello, Bee. Thanks.
No worries.
Were they with you until? Hello?
Okay.
I was just clearing out that dungeon.
Okay. And then I get that understandable. Yeah, B woke up. B just spent 20 minutes organizing backpacks. So yeah, you didn't really miss much. He was organizing. I was also organizing. My thing is a mess, but it's alright. Yeah, that's the okay. So much stuff on me, but it's okay. Alrighty, I think B wants to build an aquarium, so they finished the aquarium. So that's probably what you're gonna be doing today.
That sounds good. I worked on it a little tiny bit.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Before that, put all this stuff up. If you can, follow me.
Bye.
Bye.
Alright, Chad's going to Becca's house. I need to get some stuff. Full base. I need a toast. What? Oh, it's adorable. Oh, this is crazy. Getting a water can out. Okay, quickly. I'm gonna paper quick. I'm gonna paper, and then we're gonna do. We're gonna plan. I got a plan, Jeff. I got a plan. We go to Becca's house. Get tons of paper for photos. Then, you know, whatever we want to do, we'll do something. Go to the house, but we're gonna wait. Okay, paper. Big paper. For stacks. Okay. Okay. Know what's happening. Okay. And now we're gonna get tons and tons of avocados. I think that's the plan. Okay, we're gonna get tons of fucking avocados. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I think. We can just go ahead and everything. Anyone say anything? Oh, fuck. Alright. Okay, so hot tracing. Oh, fuck, one more thing. Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's going on. Okay. We do this for a bit. I just want to get love and hell. Okay. It's fun. How much left? How much was left now? Fuck. Only 6. No. Yeah, I mean, a lot more. Fuck. There's gonna be a lot of avocado toast. Crazy. Crazy amount, I think. Crazy. Fucking hell. Waiting. I'm begging. Please. Lots of avocados. I want avocados pretty badly now, I think. Okay. Wait. Alright. This is okay. This is going great. This is great, right? Come on. Come on. Okay. Okay, I'm just kind of waiting. Okay. Yeah, I need a bit more, I think. A bit more. This is nice. What is Opera doing in chat? What is happening? What is happening? Okay. Mature tree. Sexy mature tree. Okay. So close. Stacking 10. Stacking a bit, I think. So close. I'm so close. So close. So close. Green enough, I think. Fuck. Oh, I don't have enough. I way more than enough. Fuck. I'm trying to make the first stack. How much is? I'm making my first stack, I think. Okay. Come on, so close. Okay, now I need to do some other shit. Perfect. I need an apple thing. Why do I do this? Perfect. What do I need? Why do I need apples again? Okay, for golden apples. I don't need golden apples, so. Make all some stuff. Fuck, look at all of this. This. Go block.
Cold stars illuminate the secrets on your tongue and the poison in my lungs. Where every passage ends, a new road begins. The further I descend, your
Why am I gonna read fucking Kill the Blacks for my fucking life? What the troll muller? What's a troll muller for? Troll muller. You fucking anything. I'll keep it.
blind eyes in the darkness, frail hands reaching out, sword echoes in the smoke.
What the fuck is happening in chat, dude? Yeah, Apple streaming. Look Apple. Look Apple work.
Madness, each turn tangled in the fear of losing sight of the slowly fading light.
Okay. Okay.
Passage ends, new road begins. The further I descend, your labyrinth.
Everything's good. Good enough. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm trying to get some questions. Near enough. I'll get one more, I think. Ah, that's good enough. That last game, well, let's open 3. Oh, it's overstressed. How do I fix this? How do I fix this overstressed? Where does this come from? Source is here. I fix it? Huh? Did I fix it? Oh. Oh my god, I'm a fucking god. I'm a god amongst gods. Is this working? Oh, is that fucking gunpowder? I have to put away tonight. Fuck no, I'm not gonna put it away. I have to put it. Working? What is it doing? Oh, melons? Oh fuck, it's out of melons. It's out of shit, okay. I need to give it shit. So I need to give it shit. I can give it shit, easy. Oh, it's actually working, it's actually working, it's actually working. Fuck, it's actually working. Ah, that's an issue, but it's a red on melons. Not looking there. Where are the fucking melons? I fixed it, sick. I'm a crate pro, I'm a crate master. Yeah, let's get some gold. Okay, golden apples. That'll be good for water, I think. Okay, sick. Okay, so good. So we went for eggs. I kind of want to go to spawn real quick. Let's go there. Let's go to general store. I kind of want golden carrots. And diamond for 30 seconds. I'll just... Okay. Okay. Alright. No, dude, I can't name the albums. I might name them, I think. I might name them, I think. I might name them. I think I'll name them. Okay. I might name the albums, I think. Album 1, album 2. Alright. 12. 12 and 2 about what the eggs are doing. A long way. What should oh fuck. What should go hi wrong one. Hi. Oh fudge. Hi. Hello. Just roaming around, seeing what's up literally. Hello. I was buying golden carrots at Stop By, see how it's going.
You were buying golden carrots?
Yeah, I'm too lazy to get carrots. I could have, but like, it's easier to just buy them, you know.
You don't already have a lot from dungeons and stuff?
Oh no, I see. I give them all. I give them all my goodies to eggs. I give like every time I eat an egg, I give them golden carrots and golden apples. So like, I lose stock fast. I'm like, I think I'm about to go dungeoning. I do need more diamonds and gold and stuff.
That's true.
Oh, dude, this place looks sick.
You've been to the one close by here.
Is there? I don't think so.
There is one to the northeast of us.
Okay, I'll go there.
It's that one dungeon, the sandy one.
Oh, okay, I'll go there. I'll go there. I'll go there. Alrighty, I'm gonna be on my way then. Good luck, guys. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Go late night snack. So northeast, that's there. I'll put a sec. Okay. Time to go swim. Fast swim, fast swim, fast swim, fast swim, fuck, fast swim, fast swim, fast swim. Go fast. Up, 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 up. Okay. Sandy, why don't you know? Is it the palace? Oh my god, these vlogs are fucking sick. Okay. That's very fun. I think I love Joe's books, dude. Go for so fun. Okay. Oh, hello there, emus. Oh, chunks was on running. Okay. I'm there, I think. Okay. What's towards them? I don't know where. Okay, the movie's around here. Nope. Okay. Got it? There, you think? Maybe around here? Okay. Okay, should be around here somewhere, probably, I would assume. I haven't been anywhere around here recently, ever, I don't think. This is this is the other for Lonely Chunks. Oh, okay, piano travel up the way thing. Okay. I missed it. Yeah, I missed it. I'm like, I'm percent. Okay. I'm gonna do the food some fast. Okay. I missed it. I think I missed it. What is that? I missed that thing. Wish I missed this one. Oh, it's a fucking lighthouse. Lighthouse. Oh, fuck, of course. Okay. Oh, anything interesting? Can't get up here. You're fucking up on. Oh, wait. Anything interesting at all? There's not a single chest here. Oh, God, oh, fuck chest. Oh, that's terrible. Okay. Oh, okay. Wait. I don't know if it's on the server or not. How about the server, like the server, you know? I have to break down on the server. I don't know if I have a magnet on it. Okay. I'm gonna go fucking north. Oh, fuck. I'm down here. Go northeast, right? Wait, east is that way. Or there. Okay, so. Northeast. So where the fuck is northeast at? Come on. I missed it. I missed it. Oh, back. Oh, shit, fuck, shit, okay. Might as well. Oh, that's useful. Okay. Okay, a little more. Pretty shit if I had something. Okay. Alright, and then. Oh, let's see. There's an actual shipwreck, but I don't really want that. Okay. spawn, I think. That's pretty biome. Pretty biome. Okay, I go for this and eventually they want to leave. Okay, I'm done. We're gonna go swim away from the third part. What's up, first one? So Desert's just there. Okay. We'll destruction. We'll go east. Also, I said out, but who the fuck gives a shit anymore? I don't know, my brain is dead, dude. Oh fuck. Which one blindness goes away? Oh, it's down there. I'm better with these hit. Thank fucking god, yeah, thank god. I'm so thankful. Okay, let's fucking go and let's go explore. Oh, that sorry, I'm eating food because I have no food yet. I'm eating some food as well while I do this. Okay. Let's go east, right? Okay. What do I do here? I want a dungeon really badly. Okay. Go. Okay. That a village. Nice. Is there a waste anywhere? It looks kind of nice. It's a waste ton.
I was all alone. Then you showed up under my umbrella. Oh, shelter from the cold.
Okay. Oh, there's a waste ton, waste ton, waste ton. Where are they? Where's the waste stone? Gone, has been taken, Please, I want the waste stone. Please, don't say it's been taken. Nobody was taken, there's no shot with me, but there's a chance it might have been. Okay. Please, I'm begging. Oh, there's a statue. Got a statue. I don't want that. Wait, the cost of the thing in the movie was still there. More than one got a statue. Maybe it wasn't taken. Or would it be? Where would it fucking be? Could be. Where is it? I don't know. Oh, fuck it, alright. I don't need to waste time. It's alright. Who the fuck needs to waste time anyway? Okay, let's see. Chat, I'm still gonna be here to check something. Am I grade for a major assignment? I come back. I feel like I kind of want to recheck. Like if it came back in, or friends came back, but I don't know. What the fuck? Pin wrong? Do I keep 7 times 0? I do 9. Is it right after there? Why did it come back yet? Yet he said that he only 350 when you really think about it. Only 350 when you like generally think about it. Only 350 when it's like not that late. No. Oh fuck! This is a car ship. Wait, is it not afterwards already? I don't know if I lose one already. That's very nice. I have it. Very nice. You know, I could try my Trident. I think I want to upgrade my Trident. Fuck. I have to work on that. Maybe not today. Maybe it's another day. Fuck, I'm not using this. I'm not using this. Frank fucking failed an easy assignment because he's trying to 1% too. Fuck, why is it so hard? Why is it so painful? Focusing. I feel like I might have come already though, I don't know. Oh, I haven't then, okay. I guess I haven't. Yeah, how about a bond prepared? I feel like I have come before, private server. friend is fucking salty because he failed an assignment, but it's okay. Failing is good. Okay. Ooh, there's some here. Oh shit! Blue bombs, let's fucking go. Oh, why did I buy golden cards all from here? Oops, I should do that. Okay. Actually, I might keep it because I want seeds. Sick. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, think this sick. Sick. Oh fuck, hello. Ooh, any mazes, fucking mazes. Okay. What the fuck? Oh, okay, we're not gonna do that. I think egg probably joined there, for real. Sorry, eggy spot. That was more, there's not more. Oh fuck. These motherfuckers. Okay, maybe if I can go up there and just maybe they want the corners, I wanna make that. Maybe they actually do want it. Oh, there we no, that I should go places. Fuck. Fuck, how to do this? Up here, maybe? Yeah, sick. Anything here? Nice. Oh. Oh my god, so much. Oh! I'm sure all pumpkins today. Yep. No, why are we done yet? Anything here? Hello. Fuck, it's withering. I hate bugs. I hate you. I hate bugs. No. Alright, I need to sit probably. Oh, right here. No, it's not came from. Alright, so yeah, okay, we go east. Continue east. Okay. Okay. Time to fucking organize. We're doing this. Okay, that can go in there. That's cool. That can go in there. That can go there. Ooh, that's a cool banner. Go in there. Go in there. Go in there. Go sick. Go in there. Go in there. Okay. Okay, that can go in there. That's good. I don't know how much I need vacation wood. Fuck. Come on. No, 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 yes. Okay, then we fucking got the fuck out of here. Okay, so I get rid of this. Let's get the fuck out of here. Let's sleep. Yeah, I wouldn't need to go in a couple minutes. I have to go in a couple minutes, so I'm gonna head out in a bit. But that's fine. I'm just gonna fucking move it. Okay, let's go east. It's not east, this is east. Okay. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Ooh, no, we're wasting time. Also, very not. Fuck, this is going. This is going. I'm faster wasting for your whole life then. Okay, I don't even go here now, so I'm really not gonna. Ooh, 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 ooh. Fuck. It's gone. Let's do that. Cool. Okay. Fuck. Give a character a fully popped hover plushie? What the fuck is that achievement? What is this? I bugged the achievement out. Or not bugged the achievement out. The dungeon. Okay. Well, I guess I'm not gonna do that. Come on, buggy, stop bugging. Okay, okay. This oak shovel. Hello? Okay. Ready to go in a minute. Chat. Just had so fun. It was a fun day. I think fun full day. I go. It was very fun. Very nice. Very. Oh fuck. Okay. Okay. Alright, chat, I might call it a fucking adventure. Ooh, is that a map? Oh, I'm kind of annoying, but it's alright. Okay. Alright, chat. Nothing here. Alright, you know, fuck, we'll mark this area. That's the area I'll come back to. No worries, come. Go to the other side. Plop one down here. Okay, 5. Okay. Fuck. Okay, let's get the fuck out of here. Okay, clear myself away. I have. Sick. Alrighty. You don't want all this. Okay, that's sick. Much loud. The Rose Garden of Hope. Goodbye to B and them. Chat. I'm just gonna log off today, I think. I'll log off here, lights it. Sit and wait, chat. Sit and wait. Chat. Thank you for the stream. It's so fun. My shit, my game's crashed. I disconnected. My game crashed. That's fucking funny. That's great. It fucking crashed. That's really funny. Chat. Thank you for watching. I will see you when I see you next. Which who knows the fuck that would be. Find that, you find that, you find it. Where is it? Here it is. Chat. Thank you for the stream. Oh fuck, wrong, fuck. Chat. Thank you, chat, for what? Chat, thank you. Chat. Thank you for watching the stream. If you're new here, make sure to follow, subscribe, and free quick crime. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your night. I'll see you some. Goodbye, my friends. Goodbye. I'll see you soon. It's been so fun hanging. Bye. Log off server now for good. Bye, chat. Bye. See you soon. So much fun today. We're gonna have so much fun. I'm so excited. It'll be great. Well, I'll see you soon. Bye. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye.